Hello everyone. A warm welcome to all my plotting ninja. Welcome to the course on data visualization using Python. So far, you have dealt with two major libraries, the Matplotlib and the Seaborn. The Matplotlib and the Seaborn are the two major libraries that are used for the purpose of plotting or data visualization. But as I told you earlier, that data visualization is all about creating stories about your data. Stories which are not only attractive but can give you meaningful and data driven insights so that you can take a viable decision making. Let me introduce you another library today, and the name of the library is Bokeh. Now it is the time to really do some advanced stuff. That the Bokeh scores over the Matplotlib or the Seaborn library in a variety of ways. So far, whatever plots you have produced using the Matplotlib or the Seaborn library have been static in nature. They are not interactive. There's nothing that you can do with that plot. You can simply say it, visualize the movements of data, and can make stories out of it. But what if I give you more options? What if I give you more things that you can include in the plot? Now, let's first see that why bokeh and what opportunities or what benefits it gives you over the Matplotlib or the Seaborn library. One, the flexibility. Bokeh is used can be used for common plotting requirements, which we have been done or which we have been doing for using the Matplotlib or the Seaborn, and it can also help you in custom and complex use cases that we would be covering. In terms of productivity, it can interact with any type of PyData or Python data like Pandas or the Jupyter Notebook. The level of interactivity is very high in case of Bokeh, and that's the major advantage over the Matplotlib or the Seaborn. Whatever plots you produce using the Seaborn or the Matplotlib are static in nature, but with the help of Bokeh, you can produce lots of interactive plots where the users can interact with them in a number of ways. Then it is very powerful. Now this section I would be taking in last video, and this is something very exclusive for you, something which you will not find covered in other courses of data visualization, which is the custom JavaScript. Bokeh and JavaScripts come together to give some excellent visualizations to your data. I will discuss two popular such JavaScripts. Then shareable, you can share the bokeh plots in a variety of ways. You can export them into Excel, you can download them, you can embed them into an HTML and so on. And then bokeh is open source, that means free to use. Anybody can use and enjoy it and can visualize its data. Now, there are certain facts that you need to understand about bokeh. There's a terminology which we known as glyphs in bokeh. So we call it as plots with glyphs. Now, glyph is nothing. Any plot, whatever plot you make, it consists of different type of shapes, which might be line, circle, rectangle, square, ellipse, oval. These geometric shapes in bokeh are referred to as glyphs. Now, bokeh plots are constructed using the bokeh.plotting interface. That's the major interface that you would for all our default styles, tools, and parameters that we need. And we'll be discussing line plot, bar plot, patch plot, and the scatter plot. These shapes will give you a lot of visual information about whatever set of data or the data sets you want to visualize. Let us start with the line plot, one of the very basic plot that you can produce. The logic is very simple. You need to make the necessary imports from the bokeh.plotting module. So import figure output underscore file, because here the bokeh output is not produced within the Jupyter interface, rather it would be outside the Jupyter. So you have to mention this output underscore file and then the show. So these are my x and y values. X is a list of 5 digits 1, 2, 5. Y is again list of 5 digits 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So output underscore file, I want to name it as line.html. Then these are the figure parameters that you need to give, that how you want your figure area or the plot area to be. Like title is one parameter that you need to give the title of your plot. Then how you want to name your x-axis label, so it is x underscore axis label, and how you want to name your y-axis label. So this particular code here will assign the relevant parameters to the figure. And then finally you want to produce a line, so I will use the fig.line function, and I want to produce a line between x and y, and then finally show fig. In the Matplotlib we used to have plt. Here we have the show function. Please remember I have used fig in the parenthesis because I have defined fig as my figure. So instead of fig, if you are using something else, suppose you are writing p, then you have to write show p here, and this would be p dot line, not fig dot line. So you have to be very careful. This is the common mistake that are done. And you will see a simple line plot as you are seeing. Then the bar plot, again a very common plot. So when we use bar, or why should we use bar, I have discussed this with you when we were discussing the Seaborn. So bar plot, there are two functions that, or two options that are given by the Bokeh library. One, whether you want to produce horizontal bars. Two, or whether you want to go for the vertical bars. Horizontal bars, that means the bars will be shown horizontally across the plot width, and vice versa in case of vertical bar. Again, the code is very simple. You have to make the necessary imports from the bokeh.plotting library. Then you have to define your figure parameters. So here I have defined that my plot area should be of this much of width and this much height. Then fig.hbar. Now since I want to use a horizontal bar, so I will use the fig.hbar function, and it is y in y equal to 246, or you only need to define the y values. Okay, and height left would be 0. I will tell you why. Right is 1, 2, 3. Right means these are basically the x coordinates of your right edges, and the color. So y, the y values, then this right parameter here is basically the x coordinate of the edges. So x values are written here. Okay. And this left is basically the x coordinate of the left edges. Now since you are making a horizontal bar, so left edges will not be there. That is why left is 0. Okay. And then height is basically the height of the vertical bar. What maximum height you want, that you can specify. If you want to produce a vertical bar, then it's quite simple. You have to simply change the function from fig.hbar to fig.vbar. Parameters would be reverse. Now here you will mention the x values, and the y values will be mentioned as top. Okay, so top here means the y coordinates of the top edges. Now since there is no bottom in vertical bars, so bottom is 0. And then the width means what width you want for vertical bars, so that width you can mention right here. You can increase or decrease, but 0.5 is bare minimum that you should have. Okay, so little bit of change that you need to notice here. So when you are introducing h bar, you need to specify y values, and your x values will be mentioned in the right parameter. When you are producing a vertical bar, your x values will be written here, and y values will be taken as the top parameter. Okay, and then you can show fig to produce the vertical bars. So this is how the bar plots can be done. And the interesting plot is the patch plot in Bokeh. Now patch plot is basically used in a when you want to shade a certain region of space in a specific color, or let's say there's a in your data there's a group just showing similar set of properties. So you want to highlight that group, you want to fill that particular space with color, that particular region or that particular group with color. That can be done with the help of patch plot. Very interesting sort of plot, or plot functionality that is offered by Bokeh, and something which you should know for. But before we really go into patch plot, let's see the working of the three what we have done. So first we start off with the line plot. Okay, so we need to make the necessary imports. Then this is the defining the x and the y data which I have. From there, the output I mentioned, because in Bokeh, your plots will not be within the Jupyter interface. They would be outside the Jupyter interface. So you can mention anything here, any name, whatever you like. .html will remain constant. Then finally, you come with the figure parameters. Okay, so you need to make mention the title, the x-axis label, the y-axis label, and then finally I want to produce a line plot. So I will say line plot between x and y. So if I run this function and let's see what comes to us. So you might have this type of message. So you just need to simply click it, and this is the line plot. Okay. Now if you see carefully, if you visualize carefully, there's a toolbar on the right hand side, a default toolbar which will always be there in bokeh plots. And that is why I told you that the level of interaction that you can do with bokeh plot is simply awesome. This level of interaction was not available with the Matplotlib or the Seaborn library. So there are a variety of tools that are mentioned here. Like this is the pan tool. Pan tool is basically if you want to move your, if you want to move your plot here and there, you want to, a particular area, you can simply move your graph. Not done with Matplotlib or the Seaborn. Then this is the zoom tool. If you want to zoom a particular area, let's say I want to see what is happening here. So I can zoom this area. I can see what is happening. It will show me the zoom figure. All right. Then I can save. This is another default tool. So you can save. You can save your plots. So much of level of interaction, and this is only these are only few options that you are seeing here. The default options of the bokeh plot. You want to customize it, you can customize it. There are many tools available in the bokeh.models interface that I would be discussing with you in the later part of this course. You can add more tools, you can remove the default tools, you can customize it lot number of ways depending on what level of interaction you want to do with it. And that's where the bokeh scores over the matplotlib or the Seaborn library. Then let's come to the horizontal bars. Okay, that's what we need to introduce. Horizontally, you need to first define the figure parameters, then fig.hbar. So y values will be defined and x values will be under the right parameter. And then finally short fig and run this, you will see a horizontal bar right there. Again, this default set of tool will definitely be there. Then if you want to go for the vertical bar, okay, so vertical bar. So again, the figure parameters, the fig.vbar. Now here you have to define the x values and the y values will be taken as the top parameter. Width 0.5, that means the width of bar that you want to showcase, which is very important parameter. And if you run this one, this code will find the vertical pass. Okay. Again, the default tool is there, which will always be there unless and until you customize it or you remove it or you add certain more tools. But then that would be the later part of the show and so far. And then finally the patch plot that I will take it in the next session. So all the best, and it's time to really grab some advanced stuff and some beautiful stuff. Till that time, keep plotting and happy plotting.